Jacksonville Jaguars, still present, ready. Farrah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday that finds us, well, that much closer to Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday, Seattle and New England. We got the Pro Bowl games going on tonight. That's exciting. Dodgeball, tug of war, some flag football action. But with the Pro Bowl games comes the reality that it's likely the last time tonight that you'll see Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform. More on that coming up in just a moment. We have news coming out of Tallahassee with Florida State one day after the retirement of Gus Malzahn. We have a little more clarity now. Looks like Mike Norvell will assume play calling duties. And what's going on with Florida State's athletic program? Lost a lot of money in the last calendar year or two. Things apparently are not going well in Tallahassee, according to some new reports that are out. What is the deal with that? We'll dive into that a little bit. Gator basketball, obviously a big win over Alabama. We're still talking about that as they get ready for Texas A&M coming up on Saturday. And the NBA trade deadline. Could we see some big ones in the next day or two? Thursday afternoon is the deadline. We already saw a couple of trades today. Nick Vucevic, formerly of the Magic, has been with the Bulls now for a while. He gets traded to Boston earlier today. Jaren Jackson from Memphis to Utah, and Walter Clayton Jr., his tenure with the Jazz is already over as he gets traded to Memphis. So a lot to dive into with the NBA trade deadline, and we will certainly talk about that. In fact, in the 9 o'clock hour, Zach Hanshu, one of my NBA guys for years from Roto World, will join me to talk a little Orlando Magic, to look around the league a little bit, and to talk about the NBA trade deadline. Remember, it was a year ago that we saw Luka Doncic get traded from Dallas to the Lakers. After you saw Luka get traded, nothing should really surprise us any longer when it comes to the NBA trade deadline. But we'll see what happens coming up here in the coming hours, as again, Thursday afternoon is the deadline for NBA trades to be made. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. I mentioned Zach Hanshu of Roto World. Also, Ian Cummings, Pro Football Network. He's out in San Francisco getting ready for the Super Bowl. We'll talk to Ian. A little NFL draft talk. He was in Mobile last week for the Senior Bowl. We'll talk about Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks, who apparently rose his stock in a big way last week in Mobile. And we'll talk about some of the younger Jaguars from last year. Bashel Tutin, Jonah Monheim, Wyatt Milam, LaQuint Allen Jr. What was Ian Cummings, who I talked to last year about all these guys when they drafted him, a year in? How did he feel they did? And we'll take a look at this overall draft class. Again, even though the Jaguars do not have a first-round pick, what they do have is 4 picks in the top 100, number 56, 81, 88, and number 100. So they have 4 picks on day number 2. How fertile will day 2 be in this draft class? We'll talk about all of that with Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. And the coach, Gerald Ingram, will join us towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. The coach has 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger from his time as a running back coach with the New York Giants. I'm going to ask him to go down memory lane. He was on the Giants staff for the David Tyree catch, one of the most famous catches in Super Bowl history. where the Giants beat the previously undefeated New England Patriots. We'll talk about that game. We'll talk about that specific play, and we'll talk Super Bowl 60, Patriots Seahawks with the coach Gerald Ingram. That comes up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. As always, Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us here on a Tuesday on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Aaron Williams. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So, we mentioned the NBA trade deadline is coming up in less than 48 hours. And literally, as I've been talking, no, not Giannis, but Aaron, is it our understanding that James Harden has just been on the move?
This just in on Hacker After Dark.
That is correct. James Harden has been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick.
Well, there you go. I mean, so we saw Vucevic earlier today. We saw Jaren Jackson earlier today, and now James Harden from the LA Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Clippers get Darius Garland. That's not a bad consolation prize in return. James Harden, man, what an interesting career he's had. Just hasn't been able to go to a winner, man. Hasn't been able to get over the hump really since he left Oklahoma City. But now he's going to go to Cleveland to team up with a very good Cleveland Cavalier team already. That'll be interesting to see how he and Donovan Mitchell work themselves out. Again, we'll talk more NBA with Zach Hanshu of Roto World coming up in just a bit. But the big news right now in the NBA, James Harden traded from the LA Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, big deal of the night. Really twofold. Number one, the Pro Bowl going on right now. Not going to spend any time talking about the tug-of-war battle going on or the dodgeball game, although who doesn't enjoy a good game of dodgeball every once in a while, or the flag football contest that's happening. You a flag football guy, Aaron? You ever play that?
Oh, yeah.
So there was, back in the day, they had a thing called Let It Fly or Air It Out. I think it was called both.
Okay.
And it would come to all the NFL cities. So me and my buddies, when I was in high school, this was 25 years ago, we got into the couch potato division. They had couch potato, like average, and like elite were the three categories. So we figured we were pretty athletic. We'd go into the couch potato division. Yeah, we got crushed, man. Absolutely annihilated.
Oh, no.
Actually, you know who was on my team for that? Was Tony Smith from Jaguars Today.
Really?
Me and Fat Tony were on a team together with three other buddies in high school.
Ask him about that.
Yeah, ask him about the flag football. He'll have quite the memory of that, I'm sure. But that aside, my thought on the Pro Bowl games tonight is strictly about Devin Lloyd. We see Devin Lloyd in a number 0 Jaguar uniform here at the Pro Bowl. And it's likely to be the last time we see Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform because of the way the NFL does the franchise tag when it comes to linebackers. A linebacker, there's not a specific like 3-4 linebacker franchise tag and an inside linebacker franchise tag. It's just a linebacker tag. So because of that, I mean, you're talking ridiculous amounts of money the Jaguars would have to pay if they wanted to franchise Devin Lloyd. That's not going to happen. I'd be stunned if that happens. In hindsight, should they have picked up the 5th-year option? Yeah, but again, it was a new staff coming in. Devin Lloyd had never played in his career like he played in 2025. And one could argue the reason he played that well in 2025 is he finally had a defensive coordinator here in Jacksonville that put him in the right spot. Unlike Mike Caldwell and certainly unlike Ryan Nielsen, Anthony Campanile appears to have known how to use Devin Lloyd. And you see what happens. Lloyd flourished in this system. but in doing so has most likely priced himself out of the Jaguars' future plans. I, for one, would be very, very surprised if Devin Lloyd was brought back next season, not for not wanting him back, just for financial purposes. And that's the great part about having Campanile back. The fact that you get him again this year as your defensive coordinator. You need to hope lightning strikes twice. If Devin Lloyd leaves, like I expect him to in free agency, can Campanile do to a Ventrell Miller what he did to Devin Lloyd? Or can Campanile do to Jack Kaiser what he did to Devin Lloyd? Because those are going to be the first two looks you get to replace Devin. Remember, going into training camp last year, people thought that was Ventrell Miller's job. People thought Ventrell Miller was going to be the starter alongside Foye Oluokun. Obviously, Devin Lloyd had other plans. Now the question is, can Camp do it again? And really, he's already done it with Quay Walker in Green Bay in 24, with Devin Lloyd here in Jacksonville in 25. Can he do it with a Ventrell Miller in 26? Bring something out of a linebacker that we haven't seen yet in his career. Ventrell's had glimpses, but certainly nothing like we saw from Devin Lloyd last year. Can Ventrell Miller be next year's Devin Lloyd? If Lloyd leaves in free agency, that is the question. And who am I to doubt it? I, for the life of me, did not expect Devin Lloyd to perform like he did in 2025. So maybe, just maybe, Ventrell Miller can be next season's Devin Lloyd. And that brings me to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60. Patriots Seahawks. We'll get more into this certainly as the week goes on. You know, we're always so quick to jump the gun, to call somebody a bust, or after a losing season or two, to throw the coach to the curb and say, you need another coach in here. And this Super Bowl is a prime example of why you maybe should not do that. Look at Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel had 4 winning seasons in Tennessee. 4 consecutive winning seasons. He then has a 7-10 mark and a 6-11 mark, and he has shown the door. 2 losing seasons after 4 consecutive winning seasons, and has shown the door in Nashville. Think they're regretting that? He takes a year off, and all of a sudden, he has the Patriots in the Super Bowl, 1 win away from becoming a world champion head coach. Meanwhile, Tennessee has already fired the guy that replaced Mike Vrabel, Brian Callahan, and they went out and tried to recreate Mike Vrabel with hiring Robert Saleh, which is a clear admission that they screwed up when they fired Mike Vrabel. That's all Tennessee admitted when they hired Robert Saleh. So that's the Patriots side of it. From the Seahawks side of it, it's obvious, Sam Darnold. You want to talk about a guy that was left for dead in the NFL terms by the New York Jets, was considered to be a bust, right? Sam Darnold, with the New York Jets, top 5 overall pick, considered to be a bust. He then goes and has to swallow his pride a little bit and stops in Carolina and San Francisco, where he barely played. Goes to Minnesota, rejuvenates his career, and now is 1 win away from being a world champion in Seattle. And look, it was bad for Sam Darnold with the Jets. A 13-25 record as a starter, completing only 60% of his passes, 45 touchdowns to 39 interceptions. Certainly not top 5 numbers, right? 2 years in Carolina, a lot of the same. Still 60% completion percentage, 16 touchdowns, 16 picks. But then he goes to Minnesota. And in Minnesota last year, 35 touchdowns, 12 picks, a completion percentage of 66%. And for whatever reason, Minnesota, I guess they had J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings. They let Sam Darnold walk. He goes to Seattle and is even better now. 4,000 yards passing, 68% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns, and more importantly, he's now one win away from being a world champion. Sam Darnold was called a bust, a top 5 bust. Mike Vrabel was fired because he had lost his mojo in Nashville. And now here we are, just a few short years after those things happened to both of those guys. And Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the AFC champion New England Patriots. And Sam Darnold is the reason the Seattle Seahawks are the NFC champions and are playing in Super Bowl 60. Sometimes it's better to wait on a guy than dismiss him early, i.e. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, Sam Darnold in New York, and dare I say Trevor Lawrence here. How many of you, I'll throw myself in there, I'm not going to throw stones in a glass house, how many conversations did we have about Trevor being a bust? Have we had any of those conversations as of late? Nope. And going into next year, the expectations are going to be sky high on Trevor Lawrence. If this Super Bowl teaches us anything, it should teach fan bases and organizations patience when it comes to players and coaches. 904-641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts are always welcome. Senior Bowl in the rearview mirror. Scouting Combine, 3 weeks away. NFL Draft, 2.5 months away. Let's talk a little draft. Let's look back on the Jaguar rookie class. Let's talk about a couple of local prospects, including Caleb Banks at Florida, who had a big-time Senior Bowl last week. And let's talk about the Jaguars with 4 picks in the top 100. One of our draft guys, he's been so for years, Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. He joins me next on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. It's Hacker After Dark.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
When the FBI wants to find somebody, that's who they call.
Bleacher Report college football insider Matt Hayes.
That's what you call an intelligence officer?
Weekdays noon to 2
I don't want to talk about it.
on 1010XL.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 1:35 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Who's MIA, who's coming back? Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 1:35 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller. I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air & Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
It all begins with Speed Weeks, presented by Advent Health, February 11th, and culminates with a Daytona 500 on February 15th. This week, you can win a pair of tickets to the Daytona 500. What driver won the 2025 Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010. What driver won the 2025 Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name answer to 641-1010 for a chance to win tickets to the Daytona 500, February 15th.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Spears, Executive Director of Waste Not, Want Not. With support from the players, we're rescuing food and fighting hunger in Northeast Florida every day. Only 35 days until the players.
Hey gang, Hickett here. Guys, listen up. Valentine's is coming. You want to be a hero this year with something really romantic? It's easier than you think at Beards Diamonds. Beards has put together a stunning selection of timeless, affordable jewelry she'll absolutely love. Dazzling rings, sparkling earrings, elegant pendants and bracelets, set with brilliant diamonds or colorful gemstones. Classic gold that never goes out of style. And you can't beat the wow factor of top brand designer jewelry. They got it all at Beards. And here's the best part right now. Save up to 40% on all diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets. You know, cards, flowers, and candy are sweet, but nothing says I love you forever like a sparkling gift she'll wear and cherish every single day. Plus, Beards is your local Jacksonville jeweler, family-owned and community-strong for more than 45 years right here in the St. John's Town Center, not some Wall Street chain. Hurry in today. Don't wait. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center. Get up to 40% off diamond earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Super Bowl 60 comes up on Sunday. The Patriots and the Seahawks, and then all eyes turn to the offseason. And a big part of the offseason is obviously the NFL Draft. The Senior Bowl is already in the rearview mirror. The NFL Scouting Combine is 3 weeks away. Let's talk about all of it with Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. He's actually out in San Francisco for the Super Bowl, and Ian's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, all things considered. I had a busy week last week at the Senior Bowl, doing live coverage, working some long days, but putting a lot of good analysis in. And then had a quick 2-day hiatus this weekend, and now we're back on the travel scene. So in San Fran, landed actually like 15 minutes ago. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's a fun time. And as you said, it's the highlight of the cycle for me anyway, the off season, right? That's building up to the draft, and a lot of momentum already built.
Yeah, from Mobile, Alabama, straight out to San Francisco. So we certainly appreciate you making time for us. Ian, you and I haven't spoke since the Jaguar season ended, certainly. Not the way we wanted it to end, but boy, 13-4 overall after a couple of weeks to decompress. It's hard to be upset. What was your overall thought on Liam Cohen's first year here in Jacksonville?
Man, I think, on the one hand, right, it leaves a bittersweet taste because you wanted to go farther. But also, I think looking at the Jaguars and what the expectations were for them before the season, I think we can say they're drastically ahead of schedule, right? Like Liam Cohen, they were talking about him, probably being a multi-year thing, right? But no, they're 13-4 in the first season. Trevor Lawrence looked incredible, the best football that he's played in his career. And the roster with Anthony Campanile on the defensive side, I think Grant Adinsky on the offensive side, and they got both coordinators back for 2026, which is big too. So I think they're ahead of schedule, and I think better things are yet to come. So missing out of the Super Bowl, right? It leaves a bittersweet taste, but in my opinion, Jaguars fans only have good things to look forward to.
I want to get to Travis Hunter and Caleb Branshaw in a moment. We didn't get to see much of them for their rookie years, but of the rookies that did play, Bashel Tootin, I thought made a really nice impact. I think you saw promise from Wyatt Milam and Jonah Monheim. I think the Jaguars got a steal in LaQuint Allen Jr. What was your thought on the Jaguar rookie class?
Yeah, obviously Travis Hunter being the headliner, right, and didn't get to play much. So unfortunately, we have to wait a little bit farther to see how that kind of comes to fruition. But I think Bashul Tutin kind of showed what you expected him to in a limited role, right? He's got that explosive ability, he's got contact balance, and especially depending on what happens with Travis Etienne and what the future is there, you can expect potentially an increased role for Tutin moving forward. So that was an interesting one. Why Milam playing 10 games in his rookie season? He was always a player, in my opinion, who had a pretty good profile for starting early in the NFL and in the power profile to hold up at the point, but then also pretty advanced, pretty cerebral for his age, experience level. So a fun player. And then I think LaQuinn Allen, giving some pass down value, right? Coming out of the cycle, right? He was always back who was kind of determined as a late round guy who had that utility that you want, right? He's a former receiver, so he can run routes. He can pass protect on third downs too, keep the QB safe. So I think any rotational boon you can have there is great. The early returns on the Jaguars class is that, we're still waiting to see what it truly delivers. But I think that especially the mid to late round guys, I think they got optimal value, and I think it's something they can build on.
Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. What's interesting is we'll have to see what happens in free agency. But with Greg Newsome and Monteric Brown both set to hit free agency in a little over a month, makes you think Travis Hunter might have a larger role at defensive back. And the fact that we never even got to see Caleb Ransaw. There's potentially two pretty high drafted players there for the Jaguars, and Hunter and Ransaw, that could have a big impact on the secondary in 2026.
Yeah, it's a lot of youth for sure. And I think one thing that helps the Jaguars there, especially with Hunter, right, is that, they traded for Jacoby Myers and he ended up being a home run trade acquisition. They extended him for 3 years already. Parker Washington, for the time that he's still under contract, is going to be a really solid component for that receiving room. So I think the returns that they got from some of their guys that weren't expected to be premier contributors, right? But then Myers getting added midseason, that kind of counteracts the effect of Brian Thomas Jr.'s regression. And I think it gives you some more flexibility if you want to, kind of feature Hunter more on the defensive side of the ball, right? In my opinion, he has viability both ways, but I've always felt that at some point they're going to have to hone in on one specific position because the NFL is just too grueling, too demanding on both sides of the ball.
Were you surprised of the emergence of Parker Washington?
Not really. He was always a player who kind of struck me as a pro-ready guy coming out. He wasn't a high-end athlete when he tested, and I think that's one reason that he fell down the board. But watching his Penn State tape, you saw a guy that's built the right way. He's got a strong frame. He's got really good body control and catch point instincts, and the ability to convert in really high difficulty situations with acrobatic body control, but then also hand strength. Working against contact. So, and then the run after catch ability as well. Not being super explosive, but again, strong, agile enough. I think he was a player who was always going to be one of those guys who was a little unheralded as a prospect, but he's, also that kind of player who's going to be gritty, who's going to grit out those tough yards. And, he's going to put together a really solid career as, a rotational player at worst. But then as we saw, he really delivered when the Jaguars leaned on him more. So I think he's a great player to have in the rotation. That was kind of what my thought process was with him coming out. I was surprised that he dropped as far as he did. I think he had more of a mid-round grade for me, closer to the top 100 range, but he's a really solid player. I'm glad that he's thriving with Lawrence.
Final Jaguar roster question, then we'll branch out into the draft class this upcoming year. You talk about Parker Washington, Devin Lloyd, Brenton Strange. You can throw in Antonio Johnson. You can go on down the line, Monteric Brown, Cole Van Lannon, and on and on and on. All of these guys that were either drafted or traded for by Trent Baalke had career years with Liam Cohen and the staff. I guess that speaks to the job the staff did in year one.
I think it absolutely does. And I think it's kind of emblematic of the fact that the GM, the front office, right, and the coaching, they have to work in symbiosis, right? Like you can acquire talent, but then not put them in the right environment to succeed, right? Like Trent Baalke added a lot of those players, but then you have them under, Urban Meyer or second win Doug Peterson, right? And that's not going to give them the resources, the coaching, the kind of support that they need to truly reach their ceiling, right? So I think it's kind of, representative of, yes, talent acquisition, scouting, that's a big part of it. But you also, the guys that you get in to your door, you've got to help them reach their potential, right? And if you're kind of eroding that foundation beneath their feet with poor coaching or inconsistency, that can be just as detrimental as good coaching would be beneficial. So I think it's kind of representative of they got to work in tandem. It's a tango, right? And I think Cohen and Gladstone have started to figure it out for sure.
Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. All right, let's get to this year's draft class. You were just at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. You know, Ian, it's interesting from a Jaguar point of view. They don't have a first-round pick because of the Hunter trade, but what they do have is 4 day 2 picks, including 3 in the 3rd round. They're going to have 4 selections in the top 100. How deep a class is this, and is it good to have an accumulation of picks on day number 2?
I think it is for sure. You know, this is kind of a class that doesn't have a ton of blue chip round one talent, but it's very, very heavy, in my opinion, on potential starters, on guys who, like we were talking about, right, with Trent Baalke and the coaching, guys who in the right situation can be really good players, right? You know, those blue chip players, those are the rare ones that can supersede any situation, right, and just be amazing players no matter what. But I think there's a lot of talent in this class. If you can get them in the right system, right, you can get the maximum outcome from them, and it can help your roster either way. So for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've proven that they can acquire talent. I think it's a really small sample size under this regime, but the early returns are promising. But more than that, I think they have the coaching staff in place and the stability where they can, you know, get maximum returns. So I think this class in particular is a really fun one because you have positions like edge, like wide receiver, like corner that are super deep in my opinion, in the day 2, even early day 3 ranges, where you can get potential starters pretty early on in their careers. So it's a really fun class for the Jaguars. Obviously, not having that first rounder is a little tough, but you're hoping that Travis Hunter repays those returns this coming year. And then I do think the class is built the way that the Jaguars need it to be.
Let's go to the Senior Bowl. You were in Mobile last week. All indications were Florida Gator defensive lineman Caleb Banks had quite the week.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he's one that, unless the Jaguars anticipate trading up, another massive blockbuster with the limited capital, I don't anticipate him suiting up as a Jaguar next year. It would be great to have him, though, because 6'6", 330 pounds, should not be able to move the way that he does. Seeing some of those reps in person, let me tell you, Ryan, it was pretty jaw-dropping. He's insanely quick for his size, explosive, and when the pad level is you know, properly attuned, he can really blast guys off the line. He's got that resetting power capacity, that play strength. That pad level can be a little inconsistent. Sometimes he'll get a little too high up and doesn't have great knee bend, but you are looking at a guy that's a one-of-one physical talent. I've pained myself to come up with a comp for him, but I had to go retro. A guy that really stands out as a potential comp is Chester McLaughlin, who played for the Raiders back in the day. Just uncanny size athleticism combination. I think Caleb Banks is that kind of raw talent. So he dominated, but that's what elite raw talent does at the Senior Bowl. You know, it's kind of a gridiron for those types of guys, and he showed out and proved that he's a cut above.
Jake Slaughter for Florida was also there. What do you think of the center from the Gators?
Yeah, he's interesting. You know, he's experienced. I think he's pretty fluid for sure. I think he's definitely one of those guys who's gonna probably command mid-round appeal because he has that experience and that natural leverage acquisition, the pass pro synergy, right? I don't think he's an elite physical talent the way Banks is. And actually, they had a couple reps one-on-one where Banks got the best of him, right? Because Banks was just a little too quick, a little too powerful. I think Jake Slaughter is going to be one of those guys who, again, you know, I liked seeing him weighing in above 300 because that was a big question for me personally. You know, playing at Florida, he was under 300 for most of his career. He was in the 290s. Measuring in above 300, a little bit shorter, so more well-leveraged was a good thing for him. I think he had a solid week, not spectacular. I think he showed that at least he can be a really sound pass protector, not a people mover in the run game. He's not overly powerful, but at least can reach his landmarks and stay angle sound. So I see the ceiling is a little bit lower for him, but I do think he's a player with his experience, with his sound foundation, could be looking at either spot starter or, you know, low tier starting reps of the NFL and could exceed expectations.
Final moments, Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. Ian, how good will Fernando Mendoza be?
He's going to be good, man. Again, it's a cardinal sin of any draft evaluator to say they know what's going to happen, right? So I don't. No one knows the outcome, but you look at the film and you see a guy, again, 6'5", 220. He passes the eye test for sure. Prototypical frame, arm talent, arm strength. He's got athleticism too. He can run when he has a runway. But the thing that I love about him is he's cerebral. He's tough as nails, and he's a really good processor too. You know, you saw that even going back to his Cal days, where he can recognize opportunities pre-snap, either reading coverages or working through progressions and staying on sync with his hitches. So he's a really great player. He's athletic. He's got arm talent. He's tough. He's poised. He's super accurate as well. And I think he's got the processing ability where he can, you know, delineate, discern advantages and opportunities quickly in reps and capitalize. And the clutch gene is there too. You know, we saw it against Iowa, we saw it against Penn State, we saw it in the CFP playoffs. Guys who deliver time and time again, you know, those guys don't flinch under the lights, under the pressure. And I think Fernando Mendoza has shown time and time again that he is that guy. My comp for him is a younger prime Carson Palmer. He's got that kind of linear athleticism, but the main way that he wins is dicing up, dissecting NFL defenses with arm strength, with early processing, and with accuracy.
He will be the first pick, most likely, to the Las Vegas Raiders. Ian, final question. It's early in the process, but the Senior Bowl is in the rearview mirror now. How would you assess the best position in this draft class, and what do you think the position is that might be the weakest?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think best position, it's probably a toss-up between wide receiver and corner for me. I really think this receiver class has a ton. Well, first off, there's the quadrivirate at the top, right? Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, KC Concepcion is another one who's really good. But also the depth. You know, there's guys, dozens of guys in, you know, the mid to late round range that I could see being value additions. I think the Senior Bowl kind of showed that. You had guys like Kevin Coleman Jr., Lewis Bond, Cyrus Allen from Cincinnati, all of them showing out and really thriving in that environment that's more tuned to separators who can win one-on-one. At corner, I would say there's a lot of contrasting styles, guys who can play man or zone. A lot of smaller guys too, D'Angelo Pons, Chandler Rivers, Avion Terrell as well, but a lot of players who I think have really promising potential at the NFL level and versatility. The weakest position, I would say running back probably. It's Jeremiah Love, and then it's kind of a big gap, and we're going to see who's going to kind of emerge from that. I like Emmett Johnson from Nebraska a lot. Kalen Black and Mike Washington Jr., Katron Allen, those are some of the standouts of the Senior Bowl, but I think that position group in particular is relatively lacking in depth. So if you want a rotational guy, especially a guy who can pass protect, you're going to have to make sure you get them early on day 3 because there aren't as many to choose from this year.
Ian, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Pro Football Network and the coverage you'll have not only this week out there at the Super Bowl, but as draft season moves on.
Yes, you can follow me at IC_draft on Twitter. Obviously, Pro Football Network, Pro Football and Sports Network we are raring up, ready to go. We've got our mock draft simulator that's updated continually. We're going to have another big update coming this week at post Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl. But yes, Super Bowl coverage as well. And then leading up to the Combine, a lot of preview stuff. And then it's all going to be tailored toward rounding out our scouting reports and making sure that we have a full database ready to go for people in the lead up to the draft. So a lot of work is done. A lot of work is still to go. But it's the best time of year, and happy to be talking drafts with you again.
He's one of our favorites, Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network. Ian, appreciate the time. We'll talk soon, pal.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, this is former Jaguar Paul Spicer.
Hi, I'm Mark Brunell. I'm Josh Scobie, and you're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
This is Paige, owner of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. People ask me all the time what's healthy. And that's hard because healthy is different from losing weight. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. There are a lot of foods out there that are healthy foods, but they're not going to support your weight loss. And that's what we're here to help with. We're here to help you get in the healthy foods that are going to help you lose weight. The Awaken 180 difference is our coaches. It's our team. You can find things online about weight loss, but you try them yourself and they just don't work. And that's because everyone is different. And that's what our coaches are so skilled at helping you figure out.
Thanks, Paige. Hacker here. Figuring it out, that's what I needed. And the reason I chose Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Not a med, not a diet plan. I wanted a solution. Do what I did and make a 180 with your health and weight. Schedule your Awaken 180 consultation today. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now, See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash-out refis, or their famous rapid equity loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are 2 important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The 2-stage coating application, sure, but nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate! Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate. Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Super Bowl week means a lot of news coming out around the National Football League. Roger Goodell held court yesterday with his annual State of the League address. A lot of things came up in conversation, including international games. You know, I remember when it was a big deal when the Jaguars played a game over in London, right? Huge deal. It was the international game. And then the NFL went to 2 international games. And then 3. And in recent years, they've upped it to 4 and 5, the international series, right? Well, now, all of a sudden, in 2026, there's going to be 9 international games between Germany, London, South America, with Brazil, I think Paris is getting involved, and Australia, I believe, is also getting into the mix. 9 international games. And word is that the NFL wants 16 games overseas or internationally per year. I guess that means they want each team to play 1 international game, right? That would make sense. If you want 16 games, you have 2 different teams, one would think. So each team would play an international game. That's what they're striving for. I never thought we would get to that point, but I guess we are trending that way, right? I mean, you go from 1 international game to 3 to 5, and now all of a sudden you're going to have 9 international games. I guess we will see a day sooner rather than later where every team will play 1 international game. Will we see a time where the NFL schedule goes to 18 regular season games? Well, I think that was the common thought when they upped it from 16 to 17 a few years ago. Ultimately, the thought was that eventually it would go to 18 regular season games, 2 preseason games. Maybe that's not the case. The NFLPA has come out this week and said the players have, quote, no appetite for an 18th regular season game. And Roger Goodell didn't really talk much about it yesterday at the State of the League address. So it looks like, at least for the foreseeable future, a few years now, we're going to be at 17. I still think 17's a weird number. Maybe it's just me wanting to have an even number, but you look at like basketball, 82 even, NHL, 82 even, baseball, 162 even, football, 17, an odd number of regular season games. Maybe it's my OCD kicking in. I wish it would have either stayed at 16 or gone to 18. 17 is just odd to me for whatever reason, but it appears that is the direction we're headed, at least for the here and now. Coaching carousel getting figured out all across the league. The Giants and John Harbaugh have their offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy, failed head coach, but still considered to be a pretty good coordinator. Most recently with Kansas City and Andy Reid. I know there's a lot of Tennessee Titan fans that did not want Matt Nagy to be their head coach. They were celebrating when they hired Robert Saleh. Ultimately, Matt Nagy lands with the New York Football Giants to work with John Harbaugh. A lot of talent in New York, right? Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart. Certainly some possibilities to work with there. Mike LaFleur, the brand new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, continuing that Sean McVay tree. His first order of business is at quarterback. Welcome to the league. Welcome to being a head coach, Mike. You got quarterback problems. Kyler Murray is thought to be out of there. You going to go into next year with Jacoby Brissett, or do you have to go find somebody in free agency or draft somebody in the draft? That's a hard position for a first-time head coach to be thrown into, to have so much uncertainty to what's going on at quarterback. One thing we do know is it would be a surprise if Kyler Murray were back in Arizona. Matt Ryan, the president of the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, they have just recently hired Kevin Stefanski as head coach, Ian Cunningham as general manager. They're non-committal on Michael Penix being their starting quarterback in 2026, at least right now. Won't publicly commit to him. The thought is Kirk Cousins will be elsewhere next year. Michael Penix, who they drafted in the top 10, you would think would be the guy. And I still anticipate him being the guy, but the new regime there in Atlanta is just saying, hold on, let us get a lay of the land here before we say anything publicly. And that's probably the right move. They've been on the job. Kevin Stefanski's been there a week and a half. Ian Cunningham got there 48 hours ago. You probably don't want to speak out of turn as to such a valuable position like the starting quarterback. And Todd Monken was introduced today in Cleveland. The 59-year-old first-time NFL head coach was also pretty non-committal on the quarterback situation. Of course, they have Shedeur Sanders, who is a Pro Bowler, mind you, after throwing 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions this year. Dylan Gabriel is in the mix. And I guess technically Deshaun Watson. Remember him? He's still kind of in the mix in Cleveland. We'll see what happens, but Todd Monken introduced today as the brand new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I also thought this was interesting. I'll leave you with this little nugget during this NFL segment. Every year, ESPN.com puts this together. They redraft the first 2 rounds of the previous year's draft. So they did a redraft of the 2025 draft. They had Travis Hunter going number 5 instead of number 2, where ironically enough, Jacksonville would have picked number 5 last year before the trade. Aaron, did you see this earlier today on ESPN.com?
I did.
You did see it?
Mhm.
Okay. I appreciate you saying that because I was going to ask you something. You could have played dumb and gotten it right, but I appreciate your honesty. I was surprised at this. Were there 64 rookies in the league that were better than Bashal Tutin in 2025? I don't know. He found the end zone 7 times. It's pretty good, right? Bashal Tutin was not in the 64 pick redraft of the 2025 draft. I just found that a little bit odd. Maybe I have my Jaguar Homer glasses on, but when I see a rookie running back score 7 touchdowns, you know, I think maybe he might be among the best 64 rookies in football, but apparently ESPN.com, at least this particular writer, did not see it that way. Fair enough. I would happen to disagree. We will talk more NFL. We will talk Super Bowl 60. The coach Gerald Ingram joins us in about 15 minutes. He's got a couple of Super Bowl rings on his finger from his time as a running back coach with the New York Football Giants. More NFL talk, a little college football talk to come. We're glad you're with us. It is a Tuesday night in Northeast Florida. We're with you till 10 o'clock. We're glad you're here on Hacker After Dark.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
Okay, excellent show, everyone.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program I've ever been on. You know, I went to the doctor a few weeks ago, and I've seen the doctor several times since I started my weight loss journey, but every time I go, he's still utterly amazed at the amount of weight that I lost, at the amount of good cholesterol that I have now, the amount of my blood pressure came down. It's just a fascinating thing when you go into the doctor's office after dropping 100 pounds and you see what your measurements were when you were 100 pounds heavier. You see what they are now. It's night and day, and it's thanks to the terrific folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Again, I tried a lot of weight loss programs over the years. You guys probably remember me talking about some of them. None of them worked, and I certainly tried. Awaken 180 worked for me because it simplified things. It gave me the coaching I need, no pills, no injections. It was just solid coaching. Go to awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
From Friday Night Lights to signing the dotted line.
For some students, National Signing Day is the ticket to the future.
National Signing Day on 1010XL is covered by
Flame Broiler and Baker Glass. Next Wednesday.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Jack Checkmate.
I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are two important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The two-stage coating application, sure, but nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hello, I'm Ed Jackson, president of Ned Jackson Income Tax. Ned Jackson Income Tax has been preparing tax returns in Jacksonville for over 80 years. Our tax preparers at Ned Jackson Income Tax have years of knowledge and experience to help you get your highest possible tax refund and are fully trained on all IRS updates, including the One Big Beautiful Bill. Visit one of Ned Jackson's 4 locations, including our downtown office at 255 North Liberty Street. That's Ned Jackson Income Tax, 356-0349.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark on 1010XL.
Almost halftime on Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL. And 92.5 FM. Again, Zach Hanshu of Roto World talking NBA with us at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. You know, Aaron, you and I have known each other for a few months now, but obviously we've only started working every day together for the last couple of weeks. I kind of told you the Cliff Notes version of this. In our sports fandom, there are just certain times in life where you just really regret a decision, right? So I'm going to go back about 36 years to when I was 6 years old, and my uncle took me to the Orlando Arena to watch the Orlando Magic play. We played the Los Angeles Clippers, I believe, that night, if memory serves. Sometime back in 1989. Don't really remember the day. But I was just enthralled by it. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, you know, and I instantly became an Orlando Magic fan that night back in 1989. And that was 36 and a half years ago. And now here I sit, that 6-year-old kid has turned into a 42-year-old man. I mean, heck, I got a 6-year-old of my own now in Little Hack, and I will do my best to not punish him with being a fan of the Orlando Magic, because being a fan of the Orlando Magic builds character, man. I mean, it teaches you hard knocks about life and the lessons, because you're never any good. And on the rare occasion you are good, you get your absolute heart ripped out in the NBA Finals. But I would imagine most people have a story like that. It's just like a love-hate relationship with your team. But it's like Orlando tonight is losing by 32 points. And it's a regular season game in February. They play 82 of them. And they've played 82 of them for the last 36 years that I've been a fan. Should I be pissed off about 1 of 82 losing by 36 in a random February game in the regular season? Probably not. But I'm very, very, very ticked off because they're just showing lack of effort, like they don't care. And when you don't care and you're just out there going through the motions, getting paid millions of dollars, well, if you don't care as a team, then why should I care as a fan? And I go through this with that team, with the Orlando Magic, a handful of times a year, where I'm just ready to throw it in. I'm just ready to throw all my merch and my history in a barrel and get some lighter fluid and just let it go. But then I think back to that 6-year-old kid leaving the Orlando arena with the pendant and the hat. I think, you know what, man? When this freaking team finally wins something, because it will happen eventually, I think, although it hasn't happened in 36 and a half years.
It may be when Little Hack is your age.
When they finally win something, I can say, you know what? Through all the garbage and the crap and the nights like tonight, I can say I was there all along. I never left. I never jumped off the bandwagon and went to the Lakers or to the Heat or to the flavor of the month team. I stuck it out with, the great Tree Rollins and Danny Shays and Ronnie Cycli and Nick Anderson and Anthony Bowie and Scott Skiles of yesteryear, up through the Daryl Armstrongs and the Hedo Turkoglu's and the Rashard Lewises. Obviously the greats like Shaq and Penny and Dwight and Tracy McGrady, Vucevic and Aaron Gordon and Fournier. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And now here we are with Paolo and Franz and Suggs and Bane, and they can't stay healthy. They haven't played a game together all year. But the only guy out tonight is Franz, and they're losing. It might as well be the varsity versus the junior varsity. And I know Oklahoma City's good, but this is repugnant what's going on right now. Do you have a situation like that? And we got to go quick here in your sports fandom where, for whatever reason, you made the awful mistake of becoming a fan of a team and you simply can't let it go?
I used to think that way when I was when the Rams were in St. Louis.
You do have a weird, so you're a Rams fan, a UConn Huskies basketball fan, and what else? What's the other weird one?
The Lakers fan. Lakers, Rams, and
Lakers, Rams, and UConn.
I'll be quick. Born in Hartford, Connecticut. My mom's side of the family is from from Connecticut, so that's why I'm a UConn fan. And they were smacking Xavier by a lot last time I checked. Rams, Lakers fan because of Shaq and Kobe, easy, and then the Rams because of when they lost to the Patriots the first time. So I'm a LA fan that lives out on the East Coast.
Yeah, I needed to get that off my chest because, again, a good NBA season, you lose 30 games, right? An average NBA season, you lose 35 to 40 games. But I've done this now for 36 plus years with this team. And it's just like, when? Sports gods, when will be my time? When will be my time to stop getting embarrassed on a nightly basis by good teams? We keep drafting in the lottery over and over and over, and either our guys leaving free agency, or a coach makes a guy mad and he wants to leave, or a guy gets a coach fired, like Dwight got Stan Van fired, and it's just like, good grief. I could have avoided all of this pain, if I just simply did not go to that game when I was 6 years old. But every time I want to leave, Aaron, every time I just think about myself as little Hack, little Ryan, if you will, walking out of there with my smile on my face and my Orlando Magic cap and my Magic pendant that I still have, mind you. It's in the attic, but it's in a box up there somewhere. I will reap the benefits at some point. They will win one for me at some point. But, man, nights like tonight, Might as well get kicked in the below the belt by a mule.
It's still not as bad as being a Browns or a Lions fan for all those years. No, it's not. At least you've gotten there. You've gotten to an NBA Finals.
I've gotten there, and then Nick Anderson misses 2 free throws.
Yeah.
And we get swept. And I got there in 2009, and Courtney Lee missed a layup that would have won Game 1, and then Derek Fisher rips my heart out in Game 5.
There was nobody stopping the Lakers that year.
Well, no, we would. That's the thing. It was 2-1.
Yeah.
If Derek Fisher doesn't hit that shot in Game 4, it's a 2-2 series.
But he had been hitting shots like that his whole butt.
We didn't need to leave him wide open.
No.
I was at the game. I mean, that was 16 years ago, and I still remember like it was yesterday. Anyway, I'm on a tangent here. Thank you for that therapy session. I had to get that off my chest. Last time I checked, it was Oklahoma City 56, Orlando 24. This is a National Basketball Association game. 56-24. Gerald Ingram, the coach. Let's go back to football, something that makes me happy. Let's talk Super Bowl 60 with a man that has 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger. He joins me next. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Sometimes, when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true.
Hey, is this heaven? No.
It's 1010XL.
Reminds us of all that once was good.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Help your loved one fall back in love with his or her home with a home improvement from the professionals at the Lifetime family.
That's right, Nick. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds out there. What says I love you more than adding additional space with a glass or screen enclosure that will enhance your home's livability, or brand new floors that dramatically improve the look and feel of your home?
That's right. New outdoor living space from Lifetime Enclosures and beautiful floors from Lifetime Flooring.
Come experience the Lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our Valentine's Day specials throughout February.
Lifetime Enclosures. This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 3rd, 1980, Larry Holmes TKOs Lorenzo Holmes in the 6th round for the heavyweight title.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Valentine's Day is sweet, but let's be honest, your septic tank wants attention too. Because when it gets ignored, it doesn't sulk, it causes problems, big ones. That's why Duck Duck Rooter, the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, is rolling out the Show Your Septic Some Love promotion. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping when you book by February 28th. Give your septic a little love now so it doesn't make a big scene later. When you start, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Listen up, Googans. Hicken here, still talking skin. This time I want to give you some great advice for Valentine's Day. Look, don't buy anything that either dies or adds pounds. Go see the girls at Beaches Dermatology and get a gift card or even a specific skin treatment, one that will enhance her beauty, maybe even help her look like she did when y'all first met. It's possible. Skin treatment is very important, and a gift from Beaches Dermatology makes a perfect gift this Valentine's Day. For locations, go to beachesdermatology.com.
Finding the perfect romantic gift she'll treasure forever? It's easier than you think at Beard's Diamonds this Valentine's Day. We've curated a stunning selection of timeless, affordable jewelry she'll absolutely love. Dazzling rings, sparkling earrings, elegant pendants and bracelets, set with brilliant diamonds or colorful gemstones. Classic gold that never goes out of style. And you can't beat the wow factor of top brand designer jewelry. At Beard's, we've got it all under one roof. And right now, we're cranking up the romance with an unbeatable limited time offer. Save up to 40% on all diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets. Imagine her face lighting up when she opens that signature Beards box on February 14th. Pure magic that lasts a lifetime. Guys, cards, flowers, and candy are sweet, but nothing says I love you forever like a sparkling gift she'll wear and cherish every single day. And that gift is on major sale right now. Plus, Beards is your local Jacksonville jeweler, family owned and community strong for over 45 years. Right here in the St. John's Town Center. Not some Wall Street chain. We're your neighbors, and we're here for you. Hurry in today. Don't wait. Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. It is Super Bowl week. The Seahawks and the Patriots on Sunday. The winner will, of course, hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy, as the last 5 months basically has all come down to this: New England and Seattle. We will certainly talk about that, but also the fact that both Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile are returning to Jacksonville in 2026. Let's talk about it with the coach, Gerald Ingram, a two-time Super Bowl winner as a running backs coach with the New York Football Giants. The coach spent 18 years as a coach in the National Football League, and he's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing, pal?
Oh, it's a great morning and a great week. It's the final of the 2025 season in 2026. Looking forward to the 2026 season.
And I want to get to the returning of Campanile and Udinski with you, but actually let's start with you and your past and the Super Bowl. It is Super Bowl week, of course, and you know this week very well. You competed in many Super Bowls as a running backs coach, and you have 2 rings on your fingers as a result of those games. Just your feelings and your emotions when it gets to Super Bowl week.
Oh, I still become very emotional and passionate about the game because, you know, that's what we all play for every year. I have so many associates and friends in this profession that never had an opportunity, some great, phenomenal coaches that never had an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl, let alone win one, but have an opportunity to win 2. And to watch how exciting the city. I mean, there's nothing like a Super Bowl parade. You know, I grew up in Pittsburgh during the years where the Steelers had their dynasty, and going through that and being in New York City. I don't care what sport you're in. Everybody comes together. You may not have liked the team during the year. You might not have, you might have been a favorite of other teams. But when you represent your city and when that happens in Jacksonville, you know, everybody will have that feeling. It's hard to describe, but everybody is all in when you have an opportunity to play and win for the Super Bowl and hoist the Lombardi trophy. I love looking at it all the time. I looked at it last night. I'm looking at it this morning, and I will every day until game day.
And you're a world champion forever. I mean, you're forever being introduced as Gerald Ingram, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, as the running back coach of the New York Football Giants. I mean, it is forever if you win this game.
Yes. You know, it's something from the fact that the 2025 season that you played together, you grew together, you fought, you know, together for that final play, you know, and the 2 games I experienced, you know, you're not, you know, we didn't play in the blowouts. You know, we were the underdogs, but we were able to win with a, you know, 4-point lead and a 3-point lead. and it could have changed the final play. But when you win, you think about the whole year and what it took, for each other. And the players that you played with this year may not be there next year. And that's the legacy you leave is that some retire, some move on, some are forced to move on. But that final game of the year, they can never, ever take that away from you as a team. Staff, players, administrative staff. This year is this year, and it goes to the wire, and all the preparation that goes into it, it just becomes so more detailed each and every week. This week, for coaches and players, the amount of questions asked, and because you don't want to be the one that let the team down. Okay, you want to be the one that makes the difference in your legacy, forever. So, that's why I become really emotional about it, because every night I wanted to make sure they were ready. They were ready for anything. There was no, I'm trying to coach on game day kind of thing. It's all, we won because we were prepared. We saw things in the game that they did early in the year that they hadn't done in almost 8-9 weeks. We won on that. We won telling Plexico where Samuels, how he was going to react on the go ball. And everybody thought it was a slant go. And it's just how he reacted in the amount of film study going back to see the 17 games ahead of time, because you don't know when they're going to try and do something. You're not trying to come up with new plays. You're trying to finite everything that you've done for a reason. Tyree's throw and catch, on his helmet, it's the desire to be the guy that makes the play. He dropped every pass the last day of practice. He felt bad about it. He caught the first touchdown that he dropped in the end zone on a play action pass at the 3-yard line. But we knew, because we ran the ball, and the way we ran the ball and the plays we selected at the 3-yard line, we knew it wouldn't have worked at the 4. It wouldn't have worked at the 5-yard line. We knew it was going to work at the 1-yard line, the 2-yard line, the 4-yard line. And it was exactly what we thought it was going to be, and the motions and everything else. It was there. They knew it, the confidence given. That's coaching. And that's why the Jaguars, and having the Jaguars, being able to keep their coordinators this year is really vital. That he didn't have to start over and coach somebody else on what Liam believes in this team, that they're going to be so much better going into year 2.
The coach, Gerald Ingram, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, we got to go quick here, but I got to ask you mentioned David Tyree, one of the most memorable plays in Super Bowl history. You were on the sideline. People talk about Tyree, but it was Eli getting out of the sack, and the referees, quite frankly, not blowing the whistle, which they very easily could have. Real quick, Coach, take us on the sideline for that particular play. What was that like?
Oh, it was phenomenal. We just, when you're seeing how it started, and to be honest, it was the whole drive, Hack. There are a lot of things that happened in that drive. Eli threw a sail pattern to the sideline that was intercepted in the first game we played. Same spot, the same defensive back. He dropped it. Now it's 4th and 1. Brandon Jacobs barely gets the first down, but he gets it on the second effort. Now Eli, he's scrambling back there. We can't even find him. Players or offensive linemen are running around trying to find somebody to block because they knew he hadn't thrown the ball yet, and they hadn't blown the whistle. So you're standing on the sideline going, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Then he throws the ball in the middle of the field, knowing that was the only place to give a player an opportunity. He believed in him, and he comes down with the catch. But when it lands, when you don't know if the ball's going to come out or not by the time he hit the ground, and he had the wherewithal, and it was for him and it was for the team, and the next play, it was history. It was history. The arrogance or whatever, blitz, coordinators, you brought it all. We knew it all. We knew the exact blitz that was going to happen on that. So Brandon Jacobs came across the formation to block the edge rusher. We knew the free safety would come out of his blitz and track him. We knew every detail to give us a chance to win that game. And Brady still, as many hits as he took from Strahan and OC and the rest of the defensive players, he still almost got the ball off to Randy Moss. That's the kind of game it is to the wire. That's what made it great.
It was an incredible game, no question about it. It's one of the 2 Super Bowl rings that Gerald Ingram has on his fingers as a running back coach there with the New York Giants. Coach, quickly on Seattle and New England. What's your thought going into the game? Who wins on Sunday?
Well, it's a tough one for me because I have really become, I haven't played against and prepared against Mike Vrabel. I love what he brings to the table. I love the story and what he's done, but I also love the story and the reality of how good Seattle is, and that head coach has done a phenomenal job, and that team has done a phenomenal. They're dominant. Sam Darnold's story as well. I see Seattle being the favorite if they come to play throughout the game. I see New England with the experience of the head coach, the relatedness, the underdogness. I think he's gonna coach his tail off like he has all year long. I love the way he's become relatable to that team. So it'll be either one of these things where we say that's who we thought was going to win, or it's going to be one of these things. They kept them in the hunt, and Mike Vrabel, because of who he is and the support that he has behind his team, that they found a way to be the underdog to win. It's going to be a great game.
Well, my wife is a New England girl, so you know where my loyalties will be on Sunday, but I'm certainly hoping for a good game, no question about that. Coach, while we have you here, last week you and I talked, and there was real doubt at that time about Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile returning to Jacksonville. We know Udinski was apparently a finalist in Cleveland, was also getting talked about in Buffalo. We know Camp was a finalist in Arizona, yet the way it worked out, both guys will indeed be back with Liam Cohen for 2026. You alluded to it earlier. How big is that for the Jaguars coming into this next season?
I think it's huge. It's huge for the head coach to have the continuity. It's huge for the team, the players that are here, that the players that will remain here and the new players that will be here, is that the core, is intact, and be able to improve what they did on a year ago, this past season, into this next year, because when the season's over, you're working on the new season. So, they're spending a lot of time watching on what they did well and the things that they did not do well. So that you're going through the whole season, and then you go through how to win your division. So now you hone in on, the divisional needs to win, because now it's going to be a more competitive situation with the new hires in our division, as well as the respectability of the Colts and Houston and all the teams that we have to face. And I hate to say Tennessee Titans, but we know how that battle's going to be. It'll be talked about forever, and you have to find a way to win the division. But having that continuity to add to the growth of Trevor Lawrence and fill in the pieces that we need on defense as a pass rushing team. We dominated the run. We know what we have to do, but I think it's better for the nature and the mentality of this team for them to still be here. Winning is great, but they had 1 year, and I understand what other teams did. They want to find out what Jacksonville did. These two guys didn't have enough experience to probably win that job or whatever, but it was a great experience for them that they may have in the future if we win next year. That's the possibility of next year. Right now, we need to find a way to win the Super Bowl, and they'll have their opportunities. So it's a great situation right now to evaluate the players, evaluate the scheme, and evaluate when we did what we did and how we can better, and then how we can close out games next year, because we've got this city excited. I think everybody's going to be all in next year. I think everybody in the NFL thinks and knows that Jacksonville is here to stay and we're going to be a threat. So it's not a what if, it's you better prepare for them.
Coach, final question. We got 60 seconds. This is a one-year rental, right? I mean, if the Jaguars are good again in 2026, you'd have to think both guys, or certainly at least one guy, is gone next offseason. So you almost have to start thinking ahead a little bit if we're good again. And with the rounds they made on the coaching carousel this year, odds are you're going to lose one or both of these guys next year.
Yeah, and that happens in this profession, and they were probably ready for this year as well. And you have to, you know, because here's the thing: what happens is if one of these guys, you know, were taken this year, you got to remember there were 10 spots open.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that there were 10 spots open, there were 10 new coordinator positions open. So you got to hurry up and hire the best that you can hire that you know. So you have, as a GM and Biselli and all them, they have lists of their own. So it's not a last minute kind of thing. It's one of these things you're talking about all season long by the performance of certain teams and coordinators, that list is ongoing. Their own agents are making calls while games are going on. So they're prepared with a list of assistant coaches to hire, coordinators to hire, schemes that fit what you do. So that's an ongoing thing, not just for players, but for coaches as well.
The coach, Gerald Ingram, a two-time Super Bowl champion, and we're always lucky enough to have the coach with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back to recap it next week, my friend.
Love talking ball to the hardest working man in America.
Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
Tebow straight ahead, into the end zone, and the Gators have put this one on ice.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
This is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Tired of your hair falling out? Our hair restoration solutions have helped over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477 or go to hairforme.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
If you've run out of ideas for Valentine's Day, see what's on 1010XL's gift list from
Beard's Diamonds,
Wicca Candle Bar,
Kuhn Flowers,
and Peter Brook Chocolatier
at 1010XL.com.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida. And inside the flip side, the action never stops. If you're tired of hearing about the best games after the final whistle, don't get left on the sidelines. Whether it's a unique sporting event you've never seen, a weekend with the family, or a winning date night, Visit Jacksonville is your ultimate playbook. Get in the game. Head to visitjacksonville.com/locals or download the Visit Jacks app today and see everything coming in 2026. Jacksonville. Experience the flip side.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Hey gang, Hickett here. Guys, listen up. Valentine's is coming. You want to be a hero this year with something really romantic? It's easier than you think at Beards Diamonds. Beards has put together a stunning selection of timeless, affordable jewelry she'll absolutely love. Dazzling rings, sparkling earrings, elegant pendants and bracelets set with brilliant diamonds or colorful gemstones. Classic gold that never goes out of style. And you can't beat the wow factor of top brand designer jewelry. They got it all at Beards. And here's the best part right now. Save up to 40% on all diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets. You know, cards, flowers, and candy are sweet, but nothing says I love you forever like a sparkling gift she'll wear and cherish every single day. Plus, Beards is your local Jacksonville jeweler, family-owned and community-strong for more than 45 years right here in the St. John's Town Center, not some Wall Street chain. Hurry in today. Don't wait. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center. Get up to 40% off diamond earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The NBA trade deadline comes up later this week. Could be a really active, really interesting one, much like we had a year ago. We'll talk about the Orlando Magic. Will they be active at the deadline? They need to be. They're kind of underachieving this year. And what's the story with the rest of the association? One of our guys covering the NBA has been so for years is Zach Hanshu of Roto World. And Zach's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Zach, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
It's been a while, man, but I'm doing great. Enjoying this NBA season. How are you, man?
We're good. Thank you again for the time. And let's begin with Orlando. 25 and 23 at the time you and I are talking, which isn't terrible, but certainly it's underachieving based on what we thought coming in. And the problem this year has been the problem that they've had seemingly forever, and their main stars just cannot stay healthy, and it's rearing its ugly head again this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the story of Orlando for, the last couple of years. Obviously, this year we've had some big injuries for them as well. Suggs and Wagner, the most notable, of course. You've seen some great play from Desmond Bane. Anthony Black is really breaking out this year, which has been phenomenal to see. He's a great player. But yeah, I think the story is, can we get all of these guys healthy at the same time? And that just hasn't happened yet. I think they're 2-5 over their last 7. Obviously had that loss to the Spurs yesterday. Wendell Carter came out, expressing his frustration. So yeah, they're the 8th seed right now. As you said, they're underachieving in a year that, Jason Tatum is not healthy. The Eastern Conference seems to be wide open, and they just haven't taken that next step and taken advantage. They're on the outside looking in at this point.
Zach, I hate to label a guy or guys as injury prone. That's a bad label to get. But at this point, are we there with Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner?
I think you have to be, right? I mean, you don't like to use those labels for players, but at some point when you can't stay on the court, you can't be available. I think it's fair to assess them like that for sure.
And it's unfortunate. And look, people are pointing fingers, and you're not going to point fingers at your young superstars that are getting paid, millions and millions of dollars. You're going to point your finger at Jamal Mosley. And Mosley, look, I mean, it's year 4, right? And they're 25 and 23, and they're spending a lot of money. You got to wonder if Mosley's seat is starting to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, I would say absolutely it's starting to warm up. I mean, he's not to blame for, guys being injured, but certainly. I think they have a very good roster. They have a roster that can go deep into the playoffs. if everybody's healthy. Your starters, you got Banchero, you got Bain, Suggs when he's available. You have a jumbo lineup. You have big guys you can insert in and out of the lineup. You don't have to put so much wear and tear on your front court. Obviously, Wagner is a stud. Anthony Black is breaking out. You have some good guard depth for the first time in a while with a veteran like Tyus Jones. So, no, I don't think they need to make any moves. They just need to have their guys on the court.
Last year we saw Luka Doncic traded, and that was just a magnitude of earthquake that we haven't seen at the trade deadline in a long, long time in the NBA. I think if we weren't anticipating Giannis being traded, it might be similar this year. But I think at this point, Zach, and you tell me, it would almost be, dare I say, a surprise if Giannis was not traded prior to February 5th. What's your thought on all that?
Yeah, he's obviously gone. The question is he gone within the next 3 days, or is Milwaukee going to wait until the summer? And of course, they're going to be incentivized to move him now. The season's going down the tubes. He's expressed that he's ready to go. And are the Bucks going to get more for him in the offseason than they would get for him now? I don't necessarily think that's the case. Just because any team that wants to get him now is probably looking for a deep playoff run this year. So yeah, I would be surprised if he wasn't traded by Thursday. But of course, we're hearing that the Knicks are, not being aggressive in pursuing him. They like the team that they have. But he does have some other teams that will probably try to go hard and grab him. Golden State being one of those. They obviously need to make a move immediately. So yeah, I'd be surprised if he wasn't moved, but I still think that's, within the realm of possibility given how Milwaukee has played this situation out over the last couple of seasons.
Some of the teams that you're hearing, Miami, you mentioned Golden State, Minnesota is in the conversation, and Milwaukee's at the point now where Giannis is 31. I mean, he's not 38, but he's not 24 anymore either. If they don't trade him now, they're going to start losing value on him as the months go by, correct?
Correct. I mean, so then there's the argument again, is he going to be more valuable in the offseason, or will he be more valuable now? And like I said, I think the argument is that he's going to be more valuable right now.
We saw Trae Young get moved earlier against Zach Hantrue of Roto World. We saw Trae Young get moved to Washington. There's all the talk surrounding Giannis. What else might we see? What other big names do you think realistically could get dealt in the next 2 to 3 days?
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of big names right now. There's some role players who have garnered some interest, but the biggest name right now is, of course, Michael Porter Jr., a guy that the Nets brought in for Cam Johnson last season, traded with Denver. And really, it seems as if this year has been kind of his audition to get traded. And we know Brooklyn has been willing to trade big-name stars in the past. Michael Porter Jr. is certainly not on the level of a Kyrie Irving, a James Harden, a Kevin Durant type of player, but he's played phenomenally this year. It's the best season of his career. He's not just shooting the ball all the time. He's actually facilitating teammates. He's shown what he can do as the team's number one option. So I think Brooklyn would be wise to move on from him. They're not winning a bunch of games with him. He doesn't necessarily fit their young build, and I think they could get a strong return for him. Golden State's another team that's been in the mix, looking to add him as well.
Zach, as we look around the league in our final moments, let's go to the Eastern Conference first. You mentioned Boston, even without Jason Tatum, doing pretty well, and there was some thought that Tatum might try to come back towards the latter stages of this season. I think that's been put on ice a little bit. Tell me your thoughts there. And then Detroit appears to be the best team in the East right now. Do you see it that way heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with Tatum, right? So Boston's the 3 seed. They're tied with New York for the second best record in the East. They're 5.5 games back of Detroit. Detroit looks like they are the best team, as you said. But Boston has been surprisingly, really, really good this year. especially on the defensive end. They got rid of Porzingis. Tatum is gone. Drew Holiday's gone. So this is a completely different roster than what we've seen in the past. And I think the thought coming into the season was, hey, this might be a rebuild year. This might be an off year for them. And so you think, wow, they're competitive. Wouldn't Tatum want to come back and try to help them for a playoff run? And I think the mentality is, hey, they're playing so great right now. Keep the chemistry as it is. Let the guys, get some run that might not get some run if Tatum was available. Let a guy like a Sam Hauser or Peyton Pritchard, let some of these guys cook a little bit and feel confident going into next season and see what this team can do with Jaylen Brown as your top option. So I think coaching, I think obviously Brad Stevens is the GM. I'm a WVU alum, so I love me some Joe Mazzulla at head coach. And obviously, the three-point shooting that they have. If you're a premier three-point shooting team, you're going to have a puncher's chance regardless, and they play great defense and shoot a lot of threes. So, happy to see Boston playing so well this year. And if we shift over to Detroit, they are the best team in the East this year. I do think the Knicks can give them a run if New York is motivated and actually playing up to what they can do. They've had some injuries this year as well to some of their role players. They actually have a pretty deep bench this year. Another West Virginia guy, Deuce McBride, who I'm a big fan of, what he can do off the bench. But Detroit has Cade playing like an MVP candidate. They have the floor spacing around him, they've done a great job the last couple of years of providing him with some shooters to space the floor. Jalen Duren, first All-Star selection of his career. He's playing great. Tobias Harris coming back and, obviously not the stud that he was in Philly or with the Clippers. But, man, he's doing great as that veteran role player. So, yeah, I think Detroit's the team to beat in the East, but New York and Boston are playing great as well.
Zach Hanshu of Roto World. Zach, as we begin to wrap up, let's quickly go out west. Obviously, Oklahoma City looks to be the class of the conference. Who would be their biggest challenger or two as we move forward?
Yeah, I think the next two teams behind them are the clear challengers. The Spurs have given them fits all season. They match up well with them. Obviously, the Wemby and Chet, budding rivalry, we can call it, has been pretty fun to watch. I think Wemby takes that as a personal challenge when he faces that team. And, of course, San Antonio just has such a deep roster, so many different options. They match up well with OKC, both premier offenses, both elite defenses. And, of course, Denver, when you have Nikola Jokic out there, the best player in basketball, once they get their full team healthy, you get Aaron Gordon back. You get Christian Brown back in action. You get Cam Johnson. You get the rest of these guys available. And they've gotten some great production out of some role players this year. Peyton Watson is breaking out. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been a great addition for them as just a spot up, catch and shoot type of guy. So I think those two teams are your best threat. The Lakers, to me, have been too inconsistent. But, again, when you have Luka Doncic, who can get you a triple-double in the first half, you're always going to have a puncher's chance to win basketball games there. I just don't think the Lakers are able to hang with them for a full 7-game series.
Zach Hanshu of Roto World. Zach, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Roto World basketball coverage and the coverage you guys will have as the trade deadline approaches.
Yeah, absolutely. So Roto World is covering player news, player injuries, all the latest in trade updates, articles, player news, videos, breakdowns, everything you need to stay informed in the world of basketball and fantasy hoops heading into the trade deadline.
Zach, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. We'll do it again in a couple of weeks, pal.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
And thank you to Zach Hanshu of Roto World covering the NBA for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Yeah, hard to believe that the NBA trade deadline is Thursday. Is Giannis really going to be moved in the next, less than 48 hours now? Who knows? I mean, it certainly appears to be heading that direction, right? You never say never anymore after last year when Luka Doncic was traded from Dallas to the LA Lakers. But, man, we'll see. We've already seen Trae Young traded. There's a lot of buzz about James Harden, potentially Michael Porter Jr. in Brooklyn. Maybe even Karl Anthony Towns. Who knows? With the Knicks, who knows who else could be potentially on the move. But it should be a pretty interesting next 2 days in the NBA as the trade deadline approaches. So we certainly spent some time on that, spent some time on the Orlando Magic as well. Maybe the most underachieving team in the NBA, certainly in the conversation. You wonder if they will make a move in the next couple of days to see if they can do anything to alter their trajectory right now, but they are certainly a disappointment, right? You have to at least say that. They're eighth in the East. They'd be in the play-in game or the play-in foursome in the Eastern Conference right now. Certainly not what you expected with Banchero, Wagner, Suggs, adding Desmond Bane. But once again, Orlando just can seemingly never be healthy at the same time. So we spent some time on the NBA tonight, certainly spent some time on the Super Bowl, and we began looking at the draft. We'll talk draft every week, obviously leading up to April 23rd, 24th, and 25th when the draft takes place up in Pittsburgh. Again, the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick this year. They do have 4 picks on day number 2, and we certainly began looking at that, recapping the Senior Bowl, among other items with the NFL Draft. Well, again, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And we have a ton of people to thank. Again, Zach Hanshu of Roto World covering the NBA. Zach's been one of my NBA guys for years, and we certainly appreciate him taking time out for us tonight. Thank you to the coach, Gerald Ingram. You heard him all year on the 5th quarter. You also get him with me here on Hacker After Dark, a 2-time Super Bowl champion as a running backs coach for the New York Giants. Really appreciate the coach coming on, talking a little Jaguars, but certainly talking about Super Bowl week and what it's like hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Again, Coach Ingram has 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger from his time as a coach in the National Football League. And back in hour number 1, Ian Cummings of Pro Football Network, one of our main draft guys here on Hacker After Dark. And we certainly appreciate Ian joining us out in San Francisco, getting ready for the Super Bowl, but taking time out to talk a little draft with us here on 1010XL. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Tuesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Wednesday beginning